Today is a special day for me because what we're going to talk about today is going to be the video I wish I had when I started migrating from the full-blown IDEs I was used to, like Visual Studio and Writer, to actual NeoVim. Because I know the pain that you go through trying to set everything up, trying to make it work. Still things don't work. You don't know why. So I decided to make a full-blown tutorial for you. You're going to learn how to set up NeoVim, how to install it on your, let it be Ubuntu installation, how to set it up for testing, how to set it up for debugging. We're gonna have a little bit of a look of how it looks like when it actually tests and debug with your working NeoVim C# setup. And yeah, I would just say, let's just dive into that. Okay, so what we're going to do is really just very simple, and I just walk you through to clarify whatever questions you might have in the process, okay? So as a start, we create a Docker image for testing. It's in Ubuntu, and it installs packages that we're going to need. Curl, git, ripgrep, unzip, wget might also be installed already. We use .NET 8 here, we have a local user here. And we just create those directories here because they don't exist out of the box in Ubuntu Docker images. So basically this one is mimicking a fresh Ubuntu installation with the user Rambo as close as possible, so that you see that whatever I'm doing here, that it's also going to work on a real laptop, on a real Ubuntu installation. Anyways, so I already took that one, and yeah, I have the Docker file here in my little testing environment, and this is just this Docker file. And now what I'm going to do is I follow along and I do docker build, and I call the image Ubuntu Rambo, and now it's going to build the image. That was easy. And now I'm going to do the next step, which is going to run that image through a container or run the container. So now I'm inside the container as it should be. And now I just follow along. I install NeoVim and nodejs, and yeah, that is can be a little bit tricky. At least it was tricky for me on Ubuntu, because as it is here in Fedora, you would do something like this, and in Arch it would be very similar with the pacman and whatever package manager you have. But in Ubuntu, when you install NeoVim with the apps package manager, then it comes in a version 0.9 something, and 0.9 something is not sufficient for the plugins that we're going to need for our little C# setup. So what we're going to need is at least version 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to install Homebrew, now fresh installation. And now second step says follow the instructions on the screen. So what we're going to do, the instructions here that are necessary or relevant are those ones. Run these commands in the terminal to add Homebrew to your path. That's what we're going to do. Boom, path edit. Then it says, okay, update the build essentials. Those are indeed essential. And now it says unable to look at package build essential. So what we need to do is really just do an update, and then we should be able to actually find the build essentials. So that's what I'm going to do now. So after the update, I was actually able to install the build essentials. Now, next step, install NeoVim with Homebrew. That's what we're going to do. And now that NeoVim is installed, we can just test the installment or the installation by running NeoVim. And now you're going to see that we actually have the desired version here, 0.10. In this case 4. And this is what we need. So everything is fine. Fine so far. Yeah. So the next one can be a little bit tricky. The node installation might be that your Ubuntu installation, your laptop or workstation, whatever it is already there. It might be it already comes with Node. But in case it doesn't, that's what I'm going to do now. So now that Node is installed, we can actually go ahead and say install NvChad for NeoVim. And little disclaimer here, for the sake of convenience, we use NvChad in this tutorial, since it already comes with a lot of comfort pre-installed and uses current package managers like Mason and LazyVim. If you're not familiar with these, there's links in the tutorial. So again, just what we're going to do, boom, doing what the tutorial says. And now what it did, it cloned the repository into the configuration path and started NeoVim. And with starting NeoVim, it goes into configuration and reads what packages have to be installed. I will show you in a second, but now we just go here and say, okay, worked. And now just for the purpose of demonstration, I cd into the configuration path of NeoVim and check out the files there. So these are the files inside the directory, options, mappings, doop-de-doop-de-doop-de-doo. And then you see the file plugins in it. And this file defines what packages we're gonna install. We're gonna need the OmniSharp and or C# language server along with C# here and whatever else you need. And the other thing that we're gonna set up is the tree setter, which is important for syntax highlighting, like making this green and making this pink. And so, is that even pink? Purple, whatever. This comes through tree setter, so we're gonna install both of these plugins. I'm just copying this one and below this one, set below this one. We bring those in, boom. Now it detects that the config has been changed, which is correct. And then what we're gonna do now is, as it says in the tutorial, do a Mason install all. So now inside NeoVim we go Mason install all, and now you see that it's going to install the plugins that we defined here. What you're also going to see is that for some reason, I don't know why, I think it's because inside Docker, we're inside Docker, maybe, I don't know. I did never encounter this kind of problem on a real installation. So we defined OmniSharp here and C# and other things, but for some reason it is not respected by the Mason installer. I don't know why. For some reason, just some of them are respected. So what we're going to do is we just, install them manually, and the way to do that is just search for them on the OmniSharp, this one, and I hit I. Whatever I want to install, I hit I. I will do that a little bit slower for the next one. So now we go to C# here. But after the C# language server, we can install. We don't need this one right now. We're going to do everything with OmniSharp for now. And we have C# here. Now with my cursor is on C# here, and I want to install, so I hit I on my keyboard. And when I go up, see, it's installing this one. And this is good for now. So we can move on to the tutorial. So again, the next step is to initiate the OmniSharp, the C# language server. As I just said, this is what we just installed here. And we do the initiation, meaning telling NeoVim to respect this when NeoVim is started, and to actually have an LSP running when you open a C# file or a .cs file. We just adjust the LSP config lua. Like in most NeoVim distributions, there is an LSP config lua that defines the language service. And that's what we're going to do now. So we go to, LSP config, and then it already gives you an example for TypeScript, how a TypeScript LSP initiation should look like. And we are more interested in the C# part. So yeah, this is the OmniSharp language server set up. With that being in place, we say that whenever you have a C# file or .cs file, we want to have the LSP on it, the OmniSharp LSP on it. Okay, so boom. Next step in the tutorial, we are now setting up the NeoVim for debugging and unit testing. Actually, before we do that, we could test if the language server is even running, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave everything, and then I'm going to cd into documents just for testing. And I'm going to create a new .NET console. .NET new console. So now I'm going to cd into my console, do a .NET build, or just show the files inside. And then we have the normal files for a console. And then we go .NET build. And see everything is fine. Then when I start NeoVim, I actually expect the thing to, yeah, see now we're doing tree setter right here. So tree setter is the syntax highlighting. You see it change the color. See it change from all gray to actually respecting static classes, methods, and so on and so forth. And now you cannot see it, but in the down right corner, maybe, you know, if I do this a little bit. Yeah, now you see it. The down right corner, you have the LSP OmniSharp. So this one should now work just fine, and I can easily verify by, yeah, making a syntax error and then waiting for the LSP to give me feedback on that. And that's what I'm going to do now. Boom. So we see, works as expected. So the next thing is, actually, I want to debug this thing. And the way to do that is, first, we need to, yeah, configure the Lua files for debugging. And I just follow along the tutorial. And the beautiful thing is now that I can use the show me all file telescope functionality. And then it gives me the files I touched so far. And as you see right here, I want to touch, again, plugins in Lua. And I already touched this file, so I can choose it from here. And then, you know, say back inside this file at the following lines. That's what we're going to do. Copy this one. Paste that one here. We have the debug framework activated now. We also have a UI for debugging. I will show you in a second. And yeah, we have NeoTest that also enables the support for debugging in .NET. So in order to actually have a test suite within our NeoVim for our C# unit tests, we're gonna add those lines right here to our init Lua. So we just copy this one, open NeoVim, and then now what you're gonna see is that NeoVim screams at me that it couldn't find the file configs doop-de-doop-de-doo. This is because up here we require NeoVim to load a configuration that goes by the name NvIm -dep-ui within the configs folder, and this file is not there yet. So we ignore this one for a second, we stick to this one, and we're gonna move on. We're gonna come back to that in a second. So I'm gonna go to init Lua, gonna go to the end of the file, paste this one, delete the comments a little bit, nice and clean. And now what we're gonna do is close NeoVim, and we're gonna just create those two files in order for NeoVim to stop screaming at us. When I now open NeoVim, yeah, should be fine. Okay, found the files, all goody. Next step is we're gonna put the debugger in place. So in order to have a proper debugging experience, we need to actually load a debugger. We find that here in the configuration that we're gonna extend very soon. So we're gonna have a directory that points to an executable debugger that we're gonna download through this command. Yeah? So let's proceed. Let's actually put code into this file that we just touched up here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this one, open NeoVim, look for the file. No, we have it right here. This is the NvIm-dap Lua. Paste this inside here, and what we find here now is the path to the debugger that we didn't load yet, that we didn't download yet. Path to the debugger, and what else? Yeah, in bindings. Once we are in debugging mode. Okay, so let's proceed. This was the NvIm-dap configuration. What else? Yeah, now we have the UI for the debuggers. Okay, so again, copy this one, go into that file, NvIm-dap UI, come here, look for a file, some formatting. Okay, so this is now the configuration for the UI for the debugger, and now this is basically really, as it says, the UI for the debugging experience with some colors, and you're going to see all of that later. And yeah, I think I just move on and tutorial, and now yeah, we're already able to test the setup. We are done configuring NeoVim. All goody. Quit this one. CD into the documents. I'm so lazy. Okay. Again, we have the console here. And I now CD into the console. I start my NeoVim. Go for the program. Do a .NET build because I'm paranoid. Boom. And now what I expect now to be able to put a breakpoint right here, which I can do with F9 according to my key bindings. So now we have a breakpoint. This was not possible before. And now I expect to be able to actually debug through the thing. And this is done through F5. Which I can show you the key bindings right here. So this is the key bindings, as you see. F9 toggle breakpoint is what we just did. F5 DAP continue, meaning start the debugger, right? So now we go and I do F5, and with F5 down here I have a path. I hope my picture is not over it. So this is the file path to your console application, and then I just hit tab. And with tab I have all the files that I have in this directory, and what is necessary for us right now is to choose the console. Console.dll, boom, fuck. And now we see executable not found. So I will put this here so you can see the error. This is the error right here. Executable not found. This is because we didn't install the actual debugger. We didn't download it. That's what we're going to do now. I just wanted to show you the error message. So close NeoVim, execute this one. Now the debugger is in place. Go back into NeoVim again, into program, put a breakpoint inside with F9, hit F5, choose the console DLL, boom, debugger is working. And as you see, we have it's loading the variable that is of type string, value with the name value, and it has the value hello world. So debugging is working as expected. Can't take that one off. The next thing is to actually have the test suite up and running. Yeah, so we go one directory upwards, create a test project. I think I'm going to go for NUnit. .NET new NUnit unit goes by name my test. Boom. So I CD into my test now. Do a .NET build. I'm going to start NeoVim. And now see what I have here. Yeah, I just take the unit test 1, go into the test. And we have the actual debugging experience inside the test. In case you wonder what I just hit in order to make a debug, to get this little arrows right here. These are the key bindings for debugging unit tests when you're inside a test project, right? So we have proven successfully that we are able to run C# applications, have syntax highlighting for C#, have the LSP running for C#, having the test suite enabled. We have the full C# experience. We now reach the end of the tutorial. Your C# configuration should now be up and running. I put a caveat section into the tutorial that, yeah, I'm not going to read word by word. I'm just going to say Razor LSP support is not there yet. And Azure Function Debugging is also not there yet. You can check out the GitHub projects that are from people who try to solve this problem. Both of these are work in progress. And I couldn't get any of these to run. It's not too bad for me right now. I'm not programming in Blazor or Razor or something like that. And I don't depend on having my Azure functions up and running in order to debug their code. Everything I write is so modular that I don't need to do a func start, func up or something. And I think this is how Azure functions should be designed in the first place. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Check out the further reading section and wish you all a lovely fucking weekend. It's Friday now. So that was it. That was my exact C# NeoVim configuration that I use daily to program Azure functions for my client. For example, I use that all day, every day. I hope you got it to work. If you didn't, please check out the description. You find the link to the exact tutorial that I just walked through with all the code, all the commands, and all the snippets that I just showed. Please let me know in the comments if everything worked and if it didn't, so I can fix it. Please let me know what I can do better in the upcoming tutorials and videos. And I think that's it for now. Wish you all a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.